Hello and welcome. I'm Jon Garlick, and I'm here with the Sheriff of Calhoun County, Matthew Wade, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Sheriff?
It is Love Day, John. It is February the 14th.
Valentine's Day.
Or National Domestic Violence Awareness Day.
That's true. Yes.
So you need to make sure if you're watching this and you didn't get a card, our Facebook post actually says buy a card early today, so you don't have to buy a card early, so you don't have to call us later. So,
right. That's
yeah.
right. Did you get stuff?
I got stuff, so, you know, I was ahead of the game. I have been on that other end where I wasn't, and that's not a good Valentine's Day, so I've learned to get that early. I got some card and candy and gift, and I put a little note on my card for her, and I put it in her driver's seat, so when she went out this morning and got in her car, there was her stuff. So, fellas, I'm one-upping you. Don't forget it. If you did, I hate it.
Speaking about one-upping, we got one more.
Hey, we've never been let down. We've always had an arrest, and we thank you for that. Brings our count up to 5,172 people arrested because you were willing to help us out.
That's right, the Citizens Helping Calhoun County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff's Office helping the citizens of Calhoun County. And we've got more stuff to help you with. Right after the first half of the lineup, we have a really special guest for us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. The first half of our lineup brought to you by Abe's Ace Bail Bonds. Abe's Ace Bail Bonds, 256-831-0074. First up in the first half of our lineup this week, Jennifer Hurst. Miss Hurst, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at D'Angelo Jackson. Mr. Jackson, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for a failure to appear on assault third and a probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Travis Durden. Mr. Durden, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted on a probation violation of possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at Alfred Russell. Mr. Russell, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on unlawful distribution of a controlled substance. And this is Michael Henley. Mr. Henley, last known to be living in Winder, Georgia, he's wanted for probation violation of theft of property first. And that's it for the first half of the lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup that you might know where they are. And if you do, call Sheriff Matthew Wade. You call, he hauls. And speaking about hauling stuff, well, I guess the Emergency Management Agency does not haul stuff. Well, sometimes you do.
We can coordinate the hauling.
You can coordinate the hauling.
Yes, sir.
Myles Chamblee, Director of the Calhoun County EMA. Glad to have you on the show.
No, thanks for having me.
So for our viewing audience that might not know a thing about the EMA, why don't you just kind of tell us what you guys do?
So to hit the highlights of it, we're the coordination, try to coordinate the response. We bring in some training for a lot of public safety. We do a lot of it. We set the sirens off. That's probably what we're most known for. We do not drive ambulances. We get mistaken for that a good bit. But we do the alerts for Calhoun County. We do some coordinating, like I said, on the
Something bad happens, they do the logistics and get public safety what they need if something bad happens. Some people, you know, it's been 12 years, going on 12 years since the 2011 tornado outbreak, but when that happened, you know, we all worked for weeks upon end, and people needed water, they needed food, they needed clothing, just anything that you might need when you've lost everything. And public safety needed stuff like gas and food to be fed to keep working. EMA does all of that. And it's a big job to coordinate logistics for a natural disaster like that. So.
And all of the agencies around work with the EMA. I know the Sheriff's Office works closely in planning and responding to stuff. And one of the things that you guys do that you didn't mention is kind of keeping tabs of volatile material throughout the county. Don't you still do that?
We do. So we are the point of contact for the Tier 2 reports, so that's for any hazardous materials that are in the county. Those have to be reported to us if they meet certain quantity for the EPA.
Yeah, so I don't tell them about what I got in my backyard.
Yeah, we don't want to know about it.
I said certain quantities.
Certain quantities. So, natural disasters, we've been hearing about earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, and I know that in the past we've done an earthquake drill here in the county with the EMA a few years ago. So Tell us, is there an earthquake risk here?
So there is. It's not real high. I wouldn't say it's a real significant risk, but we do fall in that southern Appalachian seismic zone. It's mostly north of in the northern part of Alabama, but I was looking through yesterday on the USGS website, and we've actually had 10 earthquakes in Calhoun County since 2001. Most of them have been really low magnitude, probably didn't even notice them or feel them, but there is a slight risk of earthquakes in Calhoun County.
Wow, that's kind of interesting.
Well, and hopefully, it's just terrible what's going on in Syria and Turkey and the number of people that's died because of that. But hopefully in America, our building standards are a little bit better and a little bit more prepared for stuff like that. But it could happen, and man, it's just a true tragedy that's happened over there.
It's a big tragedy, and that would be, well, that magnitude here would be just ridiculously devastating, right? So what is, aside from maybe an earthquake and your typical winter or spring storms, what's another big risk that we have in Calhoun County?
So there's several. There's a lot that keep you up at night. Going along with earthquake, there's the New Madrid fault line, which is just north of Memphis. So it's Arkansas, Tennessee, a little bit of Kentucky, cuts straight across the Mississippi River. So that's one that could really cause significant economic impact to and damage to a lot of central United States if that one ever had a big earthquake. So the last one it had was in early 1800s. The reports say that the Mississippi River ran backwards for up to a day. And rumor is, I don't know if it's ever proven, rumor is that it actually rang the Liberty Bell. So.
Oh, wow. This is the one that you hear that Memphis would fall into the river, right?
Correct. So Memphis would have
on mud, and the mud would liquefy in the earthquake.
Wow. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, let's hope not. So, what are the chances of something major on the New Madrid fault?
So I was reading yesterday, so I'm no geologist, but it said 10% risk for every 50 years. So I don't really know what that looks like as far as...
It goes up 10%?
It is 10% in a 50 years. In a 50-year time period, you have 10%.
And how long has it been since it's had a...
About 200 years?
Yeah, about 200 years.
So that's like 50%.
Well, about...
Toss a coin, right?
I don't know if it adds up on probability. I think it remains at that 10%. But it's something to be aware of. It's not... I want to say there's nothing you can do about it. Be prepared. Have your things in order at the house. But it is, if that one did have a big major earthquake, it would be a serious economic. Like I said, it's predicted to be the most costly, even out of all the hurricanes we've had.
Well, Turkey and Syria, if you start talking about having 30,000 plus people dead, I mean that's wow. I mean that's just that much loss of life and the amount of people and the economic. Just being able to feed people with all the buildings tore up and the resources and things to come with that. That's why we need EMAs. That's the reason why we need to have a plan, as a local meteorologist says. Have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be just for tornadoes or bad weather. It could just having a plan of what happens bad and having a way to deal with it. So
that's one thing with earthquakes. So tornadoes, while they look large to us, they really impact a small geographical area, where if you have an earthquake, it's not going to just be a portion of Calhoun County. It's going to be, a whole northeast Alabama, and it's hard to, you can't call your neighbor for resources because they're responding to the same thing that you are. So that makes it a challenge on the resources that can come in, is can they get to you, and then are they available because they're responding as well.
My son is he's an electrical line worker. And we was talking about weather that's coming this week, about possibility for tornadoes, and talking about storm duty. And really, a tornado is a real pinpointed area. It causes damage, but the damage is, like you said, just a couple of streets over. It won't be damaged. An ice storm like in Texas, he went to that. Widespread damage. Ice was widespread, took down power lines widespread. A hurricane's widespread. An earthquake would be widespread, and just getting power lines and stuff reestablished would be a major feat.
Yes.
Well, back when we were demilitarizing the chemical weapons out there, the chemical and biochemical weapons that were out there, the EMA was spun up and had lots of staff. Remember
I do.
That whole building was filled with people, but that threat's dissipated. Yes.
Yes.
We call that a success.
Oh, it's a success, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Success.
We didn't have, so nothing as scary as that floating around much anymore, right?
So, you know, specific to nerve agent, no. I mean, there are other hazardous chemicals in the county, some manufacturers that produce or use it in their production that could impact, again, it would be a small area just, you know, located immediately around them.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk more about disasters in Calhoun County and the EMA when we come back with the second half of the lineup. So stay with us here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the second half of our lineup. This half brought to you by A1 Freedom Bail Bonding. A1 Freedom Bail Bonding, 256-236-7888. And first up in this half, Ginger Horton. Miss Horton, last known to be living somewhere in Mississippi. She's wanted for theft of property first. And this is Gary Lewis. Mr. Lewis, last known to be living in Atlanta, Georgia. He's wanted on a probation violation for encoded data fraud. And this is Kyle Sharpton. Mr. Sharpton, last known to be living in Robertsdale. He's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at Vicky Bice. Miss Bice, last known to be living in Sylacauga. She's wanted for failure to appear on unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. And meet Rosalind Montgomery. Miss Montgomery, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on theft of services first. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on these people, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number, 1-833-251-7867. Welcome back. I hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup. You might know where they are. If you do, call Crime Stoppers, call the Sheriff's Office. You call, they haul. We're here with Myles Chamblee, Director of the Calhoun County EMA. We're talking about all the things to worry about in Calhoun County. So we have some rough weather coming in. Is that right?
Yeah, you are correct.
Tell us about that.
So, in Alabama, we're not unfamiliar with severe storms and tornadoes. February seems a little bit early in the year, but it's normal for us to have tornadoes in February.
It seems like December and like March or April was when when we had them, but it seems like we've been having them from December and it ain't stopped all the way through. It could just be my perception of it, but it seems like we've had a pretty wet winter with a good bit of storms.
It has. So we've been fortunate as far as any damage goes in Calhoun County, but it does seem that we have had more severe weather this year than we have in the past.
And you know, when severe weather's coming, the public generally doesn't know what you guys are doing. I know you spin up your folks. They're up there at the office, and the sheriff's got everybody spun up, ready to go in case something bad happens. So there's a lot of prep work that goes on before the storm even gets here, right?
That's right.
Correct. So like this morning, we've already been on a conference call with the National Weather Service. We take that information and send it out to our stakeholders, so the Sheriff's Office, police departments, fire departments, schools. We have a long list in Calhoun County. We send all that information up to and keep them in the loop of kind of what we're expecting specifically for Calhoun County weather-wise, and then what our plans are at the EMA.
So how does the general public stay up and in the loop?
So a few different ways. Social media, of course, we fortunately have a pretty decent social media following. Of course, you see it on the TV, the news broadcast meteorologists push it out a lot, and then your regular news media as well.
You still have Nixle?
We do. So we still have Everbridge and Nixle. So if you want to receive emergency alerts, so if we go under tornado watch or warning, you can go to our website, calhounema.org/alerts, and you can register on there and get everything.
Go get them.
Get everything to your heart's content.
One thing that I can't stress enough is a weather alert radio, something that will wake you up if there's bad weather. That is paramount. That's just as important as a fire detection system in your smoke detector in your home. So I mean, that's something that you need to have. You can get it on your phone. You can buy one on an app store. Everybody's got a smartphone. That's one way. Or you can purchase a weather radio to put in your house, and when that goes off, that it will wake you up and let you know, hey, I need to seek cover. It seems like almost always these tornadoes come at night, so when they do, when we got the threat of bad weather, I'm up watching the news all night long. So the next day I'm a little sleepy because I don't go to bed until it's passed and it's safe, just because we're, as you said, spun up, ready to react if something happens.
So you're correct. So Alabama is actually #1 in nighttime tornadoes, and nighttime tornadoes are also more deadly because people were asleep.
Yeah, people aren't aware of what's going on. Yeah, the sheriff stages deputies out throughout the county in case, so they can respond quicker.
And we do have, how many, is it 10 storm shelters throughout Calhoun County?
Yeah, so we're up to, I want to say upwards of 15 to 18 now.
I know the county commission told me yesterday they were building 2 more, I believe.
Yep, so in the Hobson City area and the Quad Cities, we got a grant approved to build one, just waiting on the final approval from FEMA, kind of going through the bureaucratic process, but there'll be 2
Well,
more.
when last tornadoes we had that had some fatalities, those people thought about going to the shelter and they didn't. If you wait till the tornado's coming, it's too late. I know it's inconvenient, but especially if you live in a home that's not as sturdy, like a mobile home, or you don't have a safe place to go, it's best just to go to the storm shelter's deputies, make sure those things are open and well in advance. And if they want to know where they're at, I'm sure they can go to the EMA website and get directions to where those storm shelters are.
Yeah, they are. They're listed on our website. So on our homepage, there's a button that says Storm Shelters. Try to make it as simple as possible. There's a button there, you just click it, and it'll give you the directions on how to get there.
So in preparing for the rough weather that's coming in the spring and all the storms we usually get, people should plan ahead and find out where their nearest shelter is. Now, the EMA coordinated federal grants, I remember years ago, to get personal storm shelters. Are those grants still available?
So for personal storm shelter, those are not open, or was not opened after this last tornado that we had. So the process seems kind of counterintuitive or backwards. So after a tornado is when the grant is available to build storm shelters. So after the 2018 and then again in 2021, we were able to receive grant money to build storm shelters. And that's why we've increased from that 10 to close to 15 to 18 now.
So how many people in total could be safe in all those storm shelters? How?
So the total off the top of my head, I couldn't give you that answer. I know the ones that the county built, they hold 50 is what they're rated for 50. I'm sure you could get a lot more than there if there's a tornado and squeezing them in. I know that the Jacksonville Public Safety Complex can hold, I believe, 800. The new Merrill building at JSU can hold well over 1,000 people. So it varies depending on which one you're talking about.
Now, these are just storm shelters, they're not fallout shelters.
Correct. They're
Okay.
storm shelters, not fallout.
Yeah, we don't have very many fallout shelters left.
Correct.
Right, correct, yeah.
And there's a difference between fallout shelter, which is to protect you from the nuclear fallout, which is the radiation falling, not from the blast of a nuclear explosion. There's a difference.
Huge difference. Like
Yes.
one you might be able to survive for a little while.
Let's just talk about storms.
Let's just talk about storms.
That's fine with me.
So, real quick before we end, getting ready for the storms, they should go to the EMA website, get the list of the shelters. What else should people have in their homes other than the weather radar, radio, and all that stuff?
So first and foremost, as the sheriff said, you need to be able to receive alerts, whether that's through smartphones, through an application. We can sign up for our alerts or weather radio. We encourage everybody to have multiple ways to receive alerts. Do not just rely on the outdoor tornado sirens. 2, when you receive that alert, know what you need, know what to do ahead of time. So have a plan, know where to go in your home, or if you need to go to the storm shelter. And then 3 is have some supplies. If you need some medications, food, water, first aid kit.
It's going to be bad weather. Go ahead and charge your phones ahead of time so your phone's charged up that you will last during that time. Water. So.
Fortune favors the prepared mind and the prepared home. Very good. Well, Myles, Director of the Calhoun County EMA, thank you for being on the show. Have people tuned to their webpage, bad weather's coming, so that you're well prepared, and the EMA will let you know what's going on. So thanks, Myles, for being on the show.
Well,
we
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
And we'll be right back with the Crime Stoppers portion of the show and the Crazy Criminal here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to help us on the following cases. Sometime between January 31st and February 1st, a 2021 Blue Dodge Ram 1500 4x4 was stolen from Webster's Chapel Road in Wellington. And sometime between January 28th and January 30th, a home on Cross Creek Trail in Alexandria was burglarized. They got away with a Husqvarna push mower, a backpack blower, 4 weed eaters, 3 televisions, 1 computer, Xbox controllers and games, miscellaneous jewelry, 2 phones, and a large amount of cash, and various other items were taken from that storage unit. And sometime between January 22nd and January 23rd, 150 gallons of diesel fuel was stolen from a red semi-truck that was parked in the parking lot next to Jack's on Big Valley Drive in Alexandria. And between January 7th and January 9th, a 500-gallon propane tank was stolen from Knightons Crossroad Volunteer Fire Department. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers cases. If you have any information on these cases, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number, 1-833-251-7867.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
It's about to get crazy.
It always is crazy, especially when you're dealing with criminals. But
Correct.
If you're going to tattoo your face up and put Playboy on it, I mean, wicked Playboy, I guess. But if you're going to have all that on your face, you probably shouldn't go robbing people at convenience stores.
Yeah, probably not.
So Shane Jacob Ozzie Shears, I like the name Ozzie, was in Highlands County, Florida, and robbed a Circle K and took off on foot, where a deputy and his canine partner tracked him down and arrested him. He was also out on bond for multiple felony charges, including domestic violence and stuff of that nature. But if you're going to be a playboy and be wicked, you're going to spend that time in jail. So
those almost don't look like real tattoos.
I think they are, and it's each their own. But look like he'd be a nice-looking gentleman if he didn't have all that on him and didn't beat on people and rob people. He would have a much better life. So.
Yeah, well, he'll fit right in at his new residence, I'm sure.
Well, Ozzie, the wicked playboy, is now in custody in Highlands County, Florida.
Well, and we're glad for that, and we're glad he's not here. Now, Sheriff, we want to remind everyone we're talking about the rough weather that's coming in the next couple of days.
Sure.
How to be prepared and where to get information, right?
EMA's website's a good place to do that. Social media, if you get the right people, is a good place. Weather radio, charge your phones, have water, things of that nature. Flashlight.
Stay alert.
That's right.
And if people are looking for a career change?
Always come to the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. We're a great place to get your career started. We have openings in the jail, dispatch, and deputies. So
This is 3 places.
We're always hiring.
Yeah, so jail is a great place to start.
I started out in the jail, and I've done it all down there, but we're always looking for brave people that want to be a difference maker in their community. If you want to make a difference, come on down.
And a lot of people don't think about dispatch. They think about working in corrections, working in the street. They have to be strong and, all that. But in dispatch, we need good communicators.
We do. We need people to tell us where to go.
And we're going to tell you where to go next week. We want you to be right here at Calhoun County's Most Wanted. We don't want to see you in the lineup, but we do want to see you on the other side of that TV screen. So we look forward to seeing you again next week here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.